Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to yet another episode of In Conversation with Sohail Zindani. मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, this conversation is not about Sohail Zindani. It's about those amazing people that I've met with, I've interacted with, I've learned from, and I've been inspired from. And today we have a guest with us who is a Pakistani, though. I'm sure passport now says something else, but he's all born, brought up over here. I'm sure he did his first few jobs over here, but now is based out of Vancouver, and he's the vice president of the worldwide sales and business development for FLIR. And he's based out of Vancouver in Canada. I'm talking about Sadiq Panjwani, who's my guest today, and he's going to talk with us today about high performing teams, a challenge that literally every leader faces. So Sadiq, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sohail, for inviting me here on the show. And what a great thing you are doing, especially with the situation that we are facing. Really love the engagement that you have and the communication that you're providing. Great.
Thank you, Sadiq. I think it's important. Yesterday, I was telling somebody, he was telling, "Tu bahut acha kaam kar rahe ho." I said, "Aajkal aur kuch karne ko kaam hai kya?" But I think it's a very important thing for all of us to find space of hope in such adversity, and I think we all should do that.
Optimism is really critical in times like these.
Very important. Wonderful. So Sadiq, you know the format of the program. It will be a 30-minute conversation that we're going to have with you, and the idea is of this conversation is to be able to extract some takeaway messages, stuff that people can apply to their situations and bring value to whatever they do. So I think, can we start, Sadiq?
Absolutely, happy to.
Wonderful, Sadiq. So, and I'll do my note taking in this question. So please pardon me for that, because I like to keep it more real rather than scripted stuff. So let's begin. The first one that I want to ask you is that what is a high performing team, and मतलब कैसे पता चले कि ये team high performing है और ये बस एक टीम है जो मजबूरी की वजह से बनी हुई है और सब इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि किस तरह ये खत्म हो. So how to differentiate between a high performing team and just a regular team?
So, by definition, a team is a group of individuals that are working together for some common goal, some common purpose. What makes them really high performance, in my opinion, is the purpose they serve. The passion to win, the passion to contribute, the trust they share, the ability to reinvent themselves in times of adversities, and the skill of being resilient. Let me give you two examples from my personal experience. At FLIR, we wake up every day in the morning in order to enhance human perception. So with COVID situation, we have thermal technologies that really helps in order to identify, elevated body temperature. So our purpose in our company is to save life and livelihood, and that's what we stand for. When I look at my past experience with GE, the mission and the purpose of the company was to build, to move, to power, to cure the world. So I think that is what makes a team high performing, if they have those kind of elements in them.
I think this is wonderful. And how often you find leaders passionately communicating the purpose as compared to the targets in their day-to-day conversation? And do you think it's an important thing?
So communication is very critical in my opinion. And it is an art, it is a skill, and teams who have a very good form, they have a very good trust. One of the elements that they have is a good communication and a good engagement. Let me give you one example. I have a very large global team. They work in a very diversified environment, very different culture, very different time zones. And it is hard to get communication done with them. So one of the things that I do with them is every week, I do a weekly wrap-up video for them. And this is my way of being accountable as a leader. And I never miss that. And I've been doing it consistently over the last many, many years. So communication to me is one of the most important ingredients to be successful.
I think this is a takeaway. I've immediately written it down. And I think this is fantastic weekly wrap-up video. So just to explore it more, in which you share about the cool things that the team has been able to achieve, or the challenges that we are facing, and what are we going to do the next week, or what's the content of this video?
So it is to share optimism in times like these. It is to be accountable. It is to celebrate successes, and it is to talk very transparently and authentically about things that we might have to do differently, and asking for opinions. So I think that in itself sums it. It's a very short video, 3 to 3.5 minutes. And typically what I do is I speak for the first minute and a half, and then I invite one of the guests from the company to share their perspective.
Wow, I think this is, listeners, if you can't try this, I don't know what else you're going to try. I think this is fantastic. And Sadiq, now this, I'm just reflecting upon one of my friends who's working in other part of the world, and his family is here. And so what he does is, I was talking to him, I was saying कि यार अभी रोज at a time हर दिन बात करना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, लेकिन हर हफ्ते हम एक कॉल स्केड्यूल करते हैं 1 घंटे का, और वो प्योर 1 घंटा होता है, जिसके अंदर मैं थोड़ी देर बताता हूँ मैंने क्या किया, लेकिन उसके बाद बहुत पेशेंटली उनसे सुनता हूँ कि उन्होंने क्या किया. एंड ही इज इनटू दिस प्रैक्टिस नाउ फॉर 8 months, और मुझे कहता है कि मुझे अभी भी ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत सारे मेरे दोस्त जो हर वक्त अपने घर पे होते हैं ना, even they are not able to achieve that level of clarity जो 1 घंटे की dedicated call में मैं achieve करता हूँ. And now that you are saying it, I think a lot of things that people try even in their personal lives have significant impact in their professional lives.
So true.
Wonderful. Sadiq, I'll take this conversation forward. So I just ask you कि एक high performing team में क्या differentiate करता है, and you talked about certain ingredients in that. In your experience of working with high performing teams, have you ever faced, okay, so I'll put it up in a different way. मुझे ये बताओ, Sadiq, that you work here and then now that you're a global citizen, as I understand, people come up with different strengths, yeah, different weaknesses, different set of values that they have to offer to the company. And then we are talking about one common purpose or certain values that we all subscribe to. How difficult it is for a leader to navigate between this kind of a paradox, where they have their individual aspiration and then you have organizational aspiration. How a leader navigates in this paradox?
So I think the concept that you're asking is about flow. And individuals are individuals within themselves, even as leaders, and they are also part of an organization. And in my opinion, things gets in a flow if there is a good alignment between what you believe and the purpose that you are trying to serve for. And when you build that particular alignment, things happen for itself. Like, you don't have to put a lot of effort. It's not an uphill battle in order to achieve the objective. So it is really about making sure that alignment happens and that flow happens.
Just reflecting on this, I don't know, Sadiq, have you heard of Indus Hospital here in Pakistan?
Yes, I have.
Wonderful. And see if you can, encourage your international partners and businesses to donate to this wonderful place. I think they do a fantastic job. What I've seen at Indus Hospital is that, of course, the team who's leading it, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I really hope the next time you're here, you must visit that place. So what is so fascinating about Indus Hospital, by God, is not the fact that they provide free treatment. I think providing free treatment is a matter of financial strength and muscles. But what has always fascinated me over there is that how people who have joined in that organization from all other kinds of backgrounds, while they are at Indus, all their conversation, all their work, all their aspiration is grounded in one common direction, and which has been very intensely communicated over there. So वहाँ पे आप किसी एक उनके चौकीदार से भी पूछो ना कि इंडस हॉस्पिटल क्या करता है, तो वो ये नहीं कहेगा इलाज करता है, वो कहेगा हम गरीबों का मुफ्त इलाज करते हैं रज़ाए इलाही के लिए. And that that shared clarity is so inspiring. It's so amazing. And I really at times I wish that such level of passion, such level of commitment and clarity can be expressed with clients who are into commercial reasons, which is, I mean, which is also not a bad deal. एक तो हमारे यहाँ ना पैसा कमाना कुछ ऐसा, अल्लाह माफ करे, वो गुनाह की तरह से दिखा दिया जाता है, ये पैसे कमाते हैं, लेकिन these are social workers. I think both are adding value to the world. What you're doing is adding value to the world, and today more than ever before. But I think ये बहुत important thing that you just highlighted कि वो alignment का establish करना, and everyone speaks the same language once in the company. What do you say on that?
एक बहुत अच्छी बात की, and if I can give you an example from another organization like Disney. Everybody knows Disney. I have young kids, you too, and the purpose they stand for is to make you happy. That's the purpose behind that particular company, whether you go and experience that or you buy a toy from that store. And I think it is what they have done with their strategy activation. So they are not putting that this is my strategy and forgetting it. They're activating it, they're communicating it, they're engaging with them. And the more you do that, the more you make it real, the more easy it becomes, the more reflection it creates. So you're very true with Indus, and there are many examples. Starbucks, another great example. Yes. Not a company that stands for coffee. They are a company that believes in environmental sustainability. So everything that they do is focused around that. They fight hunger, and they're very clear about that. So yes, you are absolutely right. Paisa kamana hai, but with a purpose, it becomes really, really good.
Yeah, I think, or थोड़े interviews पहले I was talking to one of my friends in such conversation, and I said that ideally people should define in terms of who they are. Very unfortunate it is that businesses and individuals are trying to define in terms of what they are not. So, I'm normally pissed off with this term called not-for-profit organization. Why would you like to tell me what you are not for? Tell me for cause or for impact organization. So it's kind of good. I'll take this conversation now forward because I think the momentum is there. Sadiq, have you in your career experienced the fact that somebody who's working with you on your team is a genius, is brilliant with his numbers or her numbers, but is not the right fit for the team, and you have to take a tough decision where you let go numbers but make sure that the purpose, clarity, or the values stay intact? Has it ever happened to you, and how you went through this process?
I think many of us experience that. And fit is very important. But what is also important is the shared values. And no matter how good you are as an individual, if you are unable to work as a team, you cannot be a high performing team. And let me give you a couple of examples around that, which is when I look at high performing team and I look at individuals, by definition, they are curious. They believe in higher standards. They are action oriented, but they collaborate well. They are each other's strength. They are not in for themselves. They always wear a bigger hat. And Michael Jordan, we all know him. He has very eloquently said, talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships, right? So if you reflect on that sums it all.
So powerful. So powerful it is. I was wondering, because now just reflecting upon the question that you just raised, or the idea that you just shared, individual talent versus team coming together and playing together to win championship. I've always tried to differentiate between an artist who may not necessarily be a good team player. So for example, okay, let's say it, Roger Federer and Nadal may be individually few of the finest players in the game of tennis that the world has ever seen. How about making them a team and asking them to play in doubles, how efficient would they be? Or has there been such an efficient model where individual contributors or individual stars have been able to cooperate? So there's this one kind of an agenda that I work when I work with my clients, is that to tell them that, hey, listen, at times you do find out people who by design may not be team players. And then do our organizations have the agility to accommodate those people in such a way that they're best? Because the idea is we want to serve the world. So I mean, can there be a provision for such people who are brilliant individual artists and their work can actually benefit the world, but they're not those who would fit in? What's your say on that? I hope I made my point clear.
Absolutely. There was a concept at IBM when I used to work over there that we used to follow: best person for the job. And you need both. You need individuals and you need team players. And then there are work that individuals have to do. Like a lot of time, engineering is very individual focused. They also work as team, but sometimes they are trying to solve a very complex problem as research and development. And you don't need all the traits that you need in a team. So I think individual contributor in today's world, they can survive, and so does a team member as well. But I think what is most important thing in all of that, whether you're an individual contributor, whether you are in it for yourself, I think the purpose has to be shared. Because if you are sharing the purpose, whether you're working individually or you're working in a team, you have the passion to contribute. And I think that's the most important thing.
Wonderful. Sadiq, anything on your side that you'd like to ask this genius?
Absolutely. I think absolutely genius. So tell me, how do you know, like you do a lot of consultings, and how do you know that a team is high performing? Like, what are some of the indicators that you look for?
Two things. So first I'll tell you in terms of experience, and then I'll tell you in terms of how I noticed that. I think when I encounter high performing teams, I find people with a very interesting sense of safety. I don't know, their body language is so secure. They're willing to share, they're willing to make jokes, they're willing to laugh it off, they're willing to say, I'm sorry, they're willing to ask, I don't know, they're willing to ask, what do you think? And this is, I don't know, I mean, isko bahut objectively nahi define kiya ja sakta, but you can actually smell it, you can witness it, So, and this is a very soft way of me looking at the situation. However, if I go a step forward to this, while doing trainings, we try a lot of things. So for example, I still remember, and this is a nasty thing. I was doing a training program and we had an assessment survey that we wanted participants to fill out. So one of them asked me, Sohail, naam bhi likhna hai? So I said, नहीं, नाम नहीं लिखना है. तो एक बंदा जो साइड में बैठा था वो कहता है, सर ये हमारा टिक भी पहचान लेते हैं. Now, and I'm telling you, इस कंपनी को टीम वर्क की ट्रेनिंग की जरूरत नहीं है. इस टीम को दुआओं की जरूरत है. इस टीम को ICU पे डालने की जरूरत है. Trainings can't do any magic with a case where the sense of security and safety has been killed to a level where people know that anything, because I keep bragging about it. जब United Airlines का वो incident हुआ था जिसमें passenger को there was some beating done and whatever, and I keep telling people उस वक्त प्लेन में ऐसे लोग होंगे, ऐसा क्रू होगा जिसको ये लग रहा होगा कि ये काम गलत हो रहा है, उसको लगा होगा ये काम गलत हो रहा है. ऐसे लोग होंगे जिनको लगा होगा ये काम गलत हो रहा है, लेकिन इसलिए नहीं उठे because they knew कि अगर हम कुछ भी करेंगे तो we might stake our own jobs. And I think this takes this element of lack of safety, lack of security, takes away so much of agility that a team can, because बच्चा चलना कैसे सीखता है जब उसको मतलब एक बच्चा चलना सीखे और वो गिर जाए और उसके बाद माँ बाप उसे खूब डांटे, ये बच्चा अब कभी नहीं चलता। तो उस बच्चे को पता है मैं गिरूंगा तो ये मुझे पकड़ लेंगे, थोड़ा सा गिर जाऊंगा तो मेरे लिए तालियां बजाएंगे और मुझे दोबारा मौका देंगे। आई थिंक दैट इज, ठीक है ये चीज एक बहुत बेसिक लेवल पे मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, एक बहुत बेसिक रूट पे बात कर रहा हूँ, बट आई हैव ऑलवेज फाउंड इट to be the most profound things a team exhibit, क्योंकि टीम की दुनिया में फैमिली से अच्छी मिसाल मुझे मिल ही नहीं सकती। I mean, we can't think of any better example of a high performing team than a family. And I think this is exactly the same. It's the sense of safety and security. So अगर मुझे कोई बाप कहता है कि मेरा बच्चा मुझसे झूठ बोल रहा है, मैं उस बाप को कहता हूँ shame on you, because वो बच्चे को ये समझ आ गया है कि इस आदमी से सच बोला ये मार देगा। So that's how I look at it.
बड़ी मैं जब सेफ्टी के बारे में भी सोचता हूँ, एक एक जो कॉमन थीम मुझे नजर आता है परफॉर्मिंग टीम का, दैट इज रियली अबाउट हैविंग द बैकबोन, and having the backbone to disagree, to challenge. And then once you have made a decision, you commit on delivering on that, right? You are all in it together. And you're right, it's about failing. It's about failing fast and learning through that particular experience. Like, what on earth can be a greater example of resilience in an environment that is changing every single day? So very well said. Tell me a little bit about, what do you find, how do you find to sustain a high performing team? Like, a lot of teams, they deliver results. One year they are very good. Like, you look in cricket, for example, like we all enjoy watching it. The team really plays well, but then they don't perform after that. Like, how do you sustain this momentum?
I think my quick instance in that would be, it's okay to fail. That, this thing, and if you don't like the word fail, I use fall. It's okay to fall. And there's no harm in this. I think Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki ek hadith hai. He says that if your today is not better than your yesterday, you are at a loss. And I think this is extremely important. I think this is the definition of excellence. So first thing that I understand is that it's okay to fall, and this mindset should be there in team. Because of course, I mean, when you say high performing, or when we say high performing, the idea is that high performing is only established in comparison. It can't, so ये नहीं हो सकता कि दुनिया में एक ही टीम है और वो हाई परफॉर्मिंग है, यानी किसी और टीम का होना जरूरी है उस टीम के हाई परफॉर्मिंग होने के लिए. But ये okay, I'll give you an example over here, and so you're in digital tech industry, so just taking something from that. So I met this person, I'll not name because this is a public document that we are talking on. So I met this person. He is heading the digital banking for one of the leading banks in the country. And I met him 1.5 years ago. And while just chatting and being me, I just said that, I took his name and I said, sir, do you know, इस बैंक की ऐप आपकी ऐप से बहुत अच्छी है. And I was expecting that he'll get upset. You know what he said? He said, I know. And I was literally pissed off. I mean, I just lost the entire opportunity of debate. He said, I know. And I said, okay. And then he said, but talk to me after an year. And I said, okay. 19th of November 2019, I met him at another conference. I walked to him and I said, listen, sir, I want to tell you. He said, yes, Mecca, your app is way better than their app now. And you know what he said? He said, I know. And I was like, okay. But then he said, have you seen the app of DBS Bank in Singapore? I said, no. He said, go and check that out. They are much better than us. I said, okay. And then he said, but talk to me after an year. And I think that was the moment to understand that in terms of even high performing, the idea is, are we doing better than everyone? Or are we progressing and doing better than where we were yesterday? Because if we are progressing on that part, we are moving in the right direction or right trajectory. Now, in terms of how to sustain it, I think one of the most important thing, and you initiated that thing, is constant reminders around purpose. And that is constant. That's not one-off statement वो जो हमारे यहाँ अच्छी अच्छी दीवारें बना के जो लगा देते हैं. It's a constant reinforcement of that purpose, A. And B, I would like to, so that's a question now. In my answer, there's a question that I would like to learn from you. That what are you as leaders doing in your company? Because यहाँ पे अच्छा बाज़ companies में देख रहा हूँ जिसमें leaders जिनकी उम्रें 50 साल से 70 साल के बीच में हैं, वो अभी मिलेनियल्स को समझा रहे हैं कि इस क्राइसिस से बाहर कैसे आना है. I cannot find a better joke than this. I mean, this is the finest joke of this century. That rather than availing this opportunity to ask these millennials, hey, listen, how we can come out of it, these wonderful legends are teaching them what to do. So I think one of the most important thing for sustaining an organization is to have sustaining a high performing team is to have extremely hungry leader. And when I say hungry, this means hunger with intense humility and curiosity. That's how I look at it.
So very good answer and a good question that you asked me as well. So to me, it is about a concept called authorship. And, I have been through a lot of transformation in the organizations that I've worked with. I've led many transformations, just one last year that we did in FLIR as well. And when we look at this particular transformation and when we try to drive for a change or a concept, you can come with all the reason why, and you can come with the what's and the hows and the whens. But if you do that, and if you put that blueprint in front of the people and then say, go change, do you think that people will get behind it? No, because they never had the authorship around that. So I think it's very critical to get people to author the change, involve them. And the smartest minds that I've come across are the millennials. The kind of ideas that they come up with is absolutely unbelievable. And this reminds me of one of the interviews that I took at GE, where we were trying to hire for this one position, and one of the millennials applied for that. And in the first interview, he came in and he said, oh, this is all the things that you have to do differently. And by the way, this is when you have to do differently. And the passion and the drive and the energy and the outside thinking was absolutely unbelievable. Now, we can do one of two things. We either give them the authorship or involve them, pivot them across the organization, but involve them. Or we can say, no. This is not how it is done. This is how it is done. And we will not gain the momentum if we do the other way. So I think it is all the concept around authorship that we have to just continue to drive for. And I often say to my teams that it is not about perfection, it's about progression. And I think you said it that well.
Wonderful. Oh, wow. So much. Authorship is an interesting concept. And I think it's something that I would read more, write more about. I think that's a wonderful thing. I go back to the weekly wrap-up video, and those who listeners who बहुत दफा हम चीजें भूल जाते हैं सुन के, वो weekly wrap-up videos नहीं भूलनी है हमने. I think that's a fantastic concept that I'm also taking away, and hopefully I'll try this week. This week, let me try this.
All the very best.
Wonderful. Sadiq, before we conclude, two quick questions for you, and that's a ritual that I have in Conversation series. Question number one, all that you have possessed in your life, gained in your life, achieved in your life, everything. If I say, Sadiq, we are taking back everything and you have a chance to hold on to only 3 of your possessions, what it would be?
Wow. I'll say family, values, and experiences. And if I have these 3 things, I can build anything, and very fast.
Wonderful. One line to success. How do you define success?
Oh, well, that's a very interesting question. To me, it's not having to describe what has been accomplished. Others do it for you.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you, Sadiq, for your time. I think I had a wonderful time. I don't know about you, but
likewise, Sohail.
Thank you.
Always.
Sadiq, and I really wish that we all as a global community come out of these challenging times that we are into, and do pray for us in Pakistan as we do pray for you back there in Canada, and for the world at large. So thank you, Sadiq, for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sohail, and stay safe. Let's all continue to practice physical distancing and be socially connected.
Thank you. God bless you,
Thank
Sadiq.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.